Welcome to Fun Palais Podcast, where we are unpacking opinions and changing destinations. I am your host, Shirley Altador, where each week we will chat about how to rise strong out of all types of obstacles that come with relationships. Through personal life experiences and discussions ranging from infidelity, trust, forgiveness, sex, heartbreak, self-love, and so much more. I am passionate and obsessed to provide guidance to every woman to create a better life. Let's dive in, pull up a seat, make sure you're cozy, and get ready to be challenged and encouraged while you learn. With me, your virtual girlfriend. Welcome back to another episode of Fun Palais. Today we have a special guest with us today. We have Bernadette, and we are going to continue with season 3 with sex and a relationship. Bernadette, thank you for being on the show. How are you today?
I'm very, very fine.
Good.
And content because I did a lot of stuff today. It's beautiful.
Good. And just so the listeners know, I mean, and as time continues, you guys are going to realize sometimes the time zones are very distant, where it's 10:30 a.m. for me now. It's 4:30 p.m. for Bernadette in Austria. So the day is coming to an end for her, where mine is just starting. But Bernadette, introduce yourself to our listeners, who you are, what you do.
I'm from Austria. No, I cannot yodel. I like apple strudel. I love Mozart. And I wear dirndl sometimes. I'm coming from the countryside. And I grew up in a bakery. That's why I love apple strudel, probably because I can make it on my own.
Okay.
And to make it short, I was 2 times directly, recruited from the bakery to big companies internationally. So I worked abroad in France, in Sweden, in Germany, and also in Ireland. And I worked already for more than 15 companies. And I'm like a person, I always say yes, when it's coming to business challenges. So I have built up a huge business knowledge, which I love to share for more than 20 years with other women who didn't have the chance to be like I was with 2021 to a very good position already. And I just support women and mompreneurs, because also in Austria, the poverty or the child poverty is a topic, not only in other countries, but also in Austria. And therefore, I love to do it. I write books. Even when others told me before that I'm not good in it, I still love writing books. Good. I have 3 Amazon bestsellers. I'm also co-author with other ones, and also have a own publishing house, but actually more for my books. And I'm a publisher of a book series called The First Ad for the Soul, because for many years I create with different target groups resilience methods, coping strategies. And therefore, COVID-19 was very busy, very busy time. I gave a lot for free, especially for women's shelters, so that they can handle what's happening with domestic violence and with other topics. Because I still believe after 3 burnouts, and I was highly suicidal, and I'm still a blessed person. Okay. And so I'm sharing a lot of stuff. And my deepest belief is when we meet each other on eye level and support each other, the world will be a better place.
I totally agree. And I appreciate you coming on the show, sharing your story, sharing your knowledge, talking to us with us on this season, because as you know, sex is a topic that frighten many people. Even though we all engage in the activity, we all are at times ashamed to talk about it, which is not good. Yes. But I wanted to ask you a few questions. You said were your parents both bakers?
My father was a baker, and my mom was selling it. It was pretty good stuff. I miss it.
Okay.
And my mom is passionate in cakes. Don't ask me what we are eating since COVID-19, because for her it's like a coping strategy is baking. And I'm still looking kind of good. But,
you do look kind of good. I know the listeners can't see you, but you look good if you're eating sweets on a consistent basis.
Well, as I begin now to make my own stuff, but without
Hmm.
sugar and with the healthy stuff. Because I have my diploma in nutrition trainings as well. I created my own nutrition style and my own coaching therapy style because I was overweight and became anorexia nervosa. So eating
Oh,
disorder is a topic where I passionate talk about and also passionate support other ones. And this year I will bring out a book from my series, First Aid for Eating Disorders, because I worked with other ones and created topics about it. And yes, I love to talk about taboo topics
yes.
because for what reason whatsoever, we don't have to be ashamed for anything.
We shouldn't, but many of us are. So this is one reason why, my podcast
It's
focuses
beautiful.
on topics that people normally don't want to talk about, don't want to hear about, but they're willing to listen, but they don't may not want to engage in the conversation.
Isn't it sad? We
Hmm.
believe we are such an open society, and there are still so many topics. I had lately I have my own radio show, and I have to put two podcasts, and
Uh-huh.
hopefully this year I get my own TV show.
Uh-huh.
And for me, is talking about we were talking on once talking about terminal care
Okay.
because since COVID-19, dying came in such a huge topic and still it's always there. People, we will die. I mean, hello,
You're
but it's
so
still a
right.
taboo topic.
That is a taboo topic because you know how many people in this world, even though like your parents or somebody in your family, especially when they're getting elderly,
Mm.
you never talk about the finances, making sure things are
Yes.
order because it's a scary thing to discuss. You never want to bring it up. Oh, mom, you'll be fine. Don't worry about it. You're going to
Mhm.
live forever. But this is stuff that I need to make sure is in order while I'm living, while I'm on earth. It's going to be easier
Exactly.
for you. We need to
For
talk about
everybody.
it. Yes.
Yes.
But it's
And
not
it's a
talked
part
about.
of living.
Exactly.
It's
It
a
is part of living, but we don't talk about it. We're just terrified. I think death, even though we know it's something we have no control over and it's coming.
Mhm.
Everyone is going to go one day, but we will not discuss it. Nope, we won't
But
bring
isn't
it
it
up.
interesting that so many people fear about death that they don't live
Yeah, so
and
many.
enjoy living?
They don't enjoy living. I remember when I was younger, my mom used to always say, "Don't use the microwave, it has cancer." In my little young mind, I used to think, well, how am I supposed to warm up my food if you don't want me to use the microwave? I mean, and this is me at a younger. Now that I'm older,
Mhm.
I use the microwave when need be. I like the oven more, but it's everything. There's an issue about everything. Don't have the phone too close to your ear because the
Oh yes.
radiation is going to kill you. It's always something. And as you said, Bernadette, we need to live and we have to find good balance. And I wanted
Yes.
to ask you, what is your PhD in?
Mhm. My PhD is in health framing
I
because
see.
my background in my master is about health management and the focus is on health promotion. And when I did my masters, I was working with people who were unemployed and didn't have any health insurance. Even in Austria, it's a topic.
Oh,
And it was so interesting. I made up, I connected so many different institutions who were working with people or for people who didn't have any health insurance, but that they have, kind of a station where they can go there and still get all the health stuff what they need. And it was so interesting. It was actually shocking that in Austria, the rich country,
wow.
we still have all those topics. And
Hmm.
I said, health is the basis. If you are not healthy, you cannot fulfill your dreams.
Exactly.
And yet we take it for so yeah, it's just there. We
Hmm.
begin to think about when we are ill, and this is, in my opinion, too late. And so health promotion is a huge passion of mine, and also on the mind and level. And health framing is also about all about how we think about living, how we think about health, how we think about how we get actually conditioned about health. Because
Exactly.
most people say, "Oh, I have health insurance, I have a doctor, I can live however I want, I can stay totally unhealthy and everything, but because when I take a pill, I get healthy again." And I'm like,
Exactly.
no,
No, that's not how it works. That's not how it
no.
works. Okay. All right. So that's why, and you did mention about being anorexic and I
Mhm,
guess how long was that when you were younger, or is this as an
mhm,
adult?
mhm. I was overweight because we had really good stuff at home. And when I was working abroad, after getting this good position also in Germany, they were so mean to me that
Oh,
my strategy was stop eating, not being seen anymore. And behind every single eating disorder is something totally different.
yeah.
Something totally different. Even when you are obese, is such a huge topic behind. And
Hmm.
I'm a person looking always behind the curtain.
I agree
So
because there's a reason why you're not eating, or
always,
there's a reason why you're eating too much. And it's
yes.
really diving in to figure out the big why of why are
Mm.
you making this decision?
And this is something I was more and more exploring. So I actually discovered myself and all the conditions what I got since childhood, because we get conditions.
Hmm.
We get conditioned. Everybody's telling us who we are, how we should be. And for one day, either it's midlife crisis or earlier, you begin to stop because all the challenges and everything what happens to you becomes because of the conditions you get since childhood.
Exactly.
So I'm working on the belief system, on the values, and also on the identity with the other people who are coming to me, only to discover what's behind my challenges. If it is a disease or a mental health or whatever, there's always a meaning behind. And this is something what I go with my client through in their tempo and discover how we actually communicate inside with us, ourselves, and also with outside, and working on the beliefs.
Gotcha. Okay. And you're totally right. And I'm glad that you shared that with us because normally anorexia and bulimia, a lot of times you hear it in teenage children and you don't
Yes.
hear it in adults many times. And you were a woman working in your career and you were faced with this challenge, but you were able to overcome it, which is great. And also, you've written books about nutrition. So
Mhm.
you were really, truly able to overcome it. And your PhD focuses on also nutrition. So this is a great thing that you did not let this anorexia take over your life.
I actually create, and this is meanwhile a mission. I create something what I actually needed 20 years ago, more than 20 years already,
Mhm.
because we learn a lot in school. We
Mhm.
learn a lot from others, but we are not learning what living is. We are not learning how to handle challenges. We don't learn the important stuff.
Exactly. School doesn't teach you all the real, true life stuff
Yes.
that you need to know. Yeah, 2 plus 2 is 4, 3 plus 3 is 6, but I need more than that to live in
Yes.
this world. So I
Oh, way much
totally,
more.
way much more. And they don't teach you how to manage relationships, how to manage nutrition. They
Yes.
don't teach you any of that. The real challenges in life are not taught in school. It's just the basic, simple platform. That's it. Really, I feel like school teaches you how to read and write. Everything else, it's really like all extra, and half of it doesn't even pertain to what you have to do in this world.
But isn't that sad? Because the most important thing is actually how you handle yourself
Yeah.
inside,
Yeah.
and also how to be social with others. And this is
Exactly.
this is so valuable. And when I see children, because we actually have it naturally, but we get conditioned differently. And this makes me always so sad when I see how parents talk with their children, and sometimes I just want to give them my business card and tell them, "Hun, you will need me later on. Just keep the business card, and you can pay me with sweets or whatever you have. It doesn't matter at all."
And I totally agree with this topic because as we dive right in, you're right. Parents, how we deal with our kids, even me as a mother, I try to be mindful, Bernadette, about what I talk to my kids about and make sure I talk about things that my mother even never talked to me about
Yes.
because it's necessary. She did the best that she knew how to do. Now,
Yes,
since
exactly.
I know better, I need to do better. I really don't like when people say, well, that's not how I was taught when I was a child. But you're 18 now, you know right from wrong. And I shouldn't even say 18, you're an adult. You know right from wrong. So do better
Mhm,
if you know better. If your
mhm.
mother didn't talk about something with you or your father, it doesn't mean you shouldn't talk about it with your kids. So, as we dive into this topic of sex, I wanted to ask you, do you believe that sex is something that, as parents, me myself, I make it a point to talk about it with my kids, that parents should definitely talk about more with their children, and they do not.
Yes, but without any judgment.
Exactly.
And if you see most of, I don't know how it's in your country, but in my country, it's still something you don't talk about it. And if you talk about it, you talk about.
It's same here in the US. You don't talk about it. I mean, you should, first of all, you shouldn't even bring it up, because if you bring it up, the accusation automatically is put on you of, are you having sex? And it's more like, well, should I say yes or should I say no? I had someone on my interview, same topic, sex in a relationship. She's 25 years old, sweet soul, absolutely love her. She said not too long ago, she's 25. Her mother asked her if she's having sex, and she said no. You know, and she said, I don't know what she thinks in her mind, but whatever she thinks, I'll just let her continue to think it. And this is the comfort level. You're 25. At what point is that comfort level okay? Once you're now pregnant and having kids, once you're like, when is it okay for you to be honest? Like, yes, mom, I'm having sex. I'm doing it.
Should we talk about it? But isn't that sad? It's something. The most natural things: having sex, birth, dying, and also bringing up topic about violence, about how to take care of each other, how to
Yes.
be kind to each other. These are topics you don't talk about. This is like, come on, no.
Yeah, you're right. We don't talk about them enough. Go
But
ahead.
isn't it interesting how else can the teens, or how else can we get our sex education? And don't tell me your teacher was really good in it, because mine was not good.
I went to a Catholic school, Bernadette, from first grade to 12th grade. I think they showed us one video when I was in the 5th grade, and that had to deal with like getting your period. It wasn't talking about sex. And in high school, it's not really something that was really true discussed. My sex education came from my own personal research, and I pray God to this day, I had a great team of gynecologists. The office that I went to, the woman that I've seen, and I've seen her for years, except for when I had my babies, because she is a now she's a nurse practitioner. So I had to transition to a doctor when I had the babies, but she educated me. That's why I'm saying I thank my gynecologist and my own research. That's how I was able to educate myself. It wasn't for my parents. And also,
No.
you know, when you're in high school, what you hear from your friends. But this is so wrong. Like, my mother didn't tell me, but you know, I can't be mad at her for life. She probably wasn't talked about it as a child, so she just passed the same thing on. And I wanted to break that curse, because
Yes.
I've been telling my kids, I think my kids were 4 and 5. My daughter was 5, my son was 4. When I first said to them, "Do you know where babies come from?" And basic answer, "From mommy's belly." And I kept it simple. And each time as they got a little older, I asked more questions. Now they do know where the babies come from. My son is so funny because he'll say, "Yeah, they come from the scrotum," and he makes it comical. And I'm glad that like he thinks it's funny. I make it comfortable for my children, but many parents don't do that.
But from whom should they learn it?
The parents, that's where it should start, the parents, but they don't say anything about it.
I mean, my father is a war child. My mom is a post-war child. These are generations, they had different learning. I mean, my father didn't have a father because his father was in the war. And this is something, how can they teach us something what they never got themselves for teaching? Most parents says, oh, they learn it just in school. So why should I talk about it? Why should I bother about it? And as more as you make a topic taboo, even the same with drugs, by the way, everything what you make taboo makes more interesting, isn't it?
Everything that is,
I want to know.
yeah,
Isn't it?
everything that is taboo, you're so right, Bernadette, is so much more interesting to dive into, because I remember as a teenage child, oh, she doesn't want to talk about it. She doesn't want me to do it. I'm going to dive in even more.
Yeah.
So let me ask you, Bernadette, how did your sex education come to be? Where did you do your own research? Was there someone particular that you were close to that you were able to speak to comfortably about it?
It was differently. There were more points because my parents worked truly a lot. So
Mm-hmm.
I have the workaholic gene is from my parents.
Mm.
And my mom gave me a book and she was so embarrassed. I think I was 23, 24. She gave me a book. It's like How to Be a Woman. And I still remember this picture. I was like, Mom, oh. And we had in our bakery we had she was actually gay, but we didn't know as child as teen back then. And she was something. She was the wicked person who shows out everything. She even trained us how to ride the car, how to drive the car.
Uh-huh.
When I was 16, no one knew. So I'm coming from the countryside, and she gave us, all this different sex stuff and videos and everything else. And I have two elder brothers, so you as you know, a small sister, where your elder brother hides stuff. You never should find that
Uh-huh.
sister. And this was so interesting. And my friends are very open, and I'm very happy that I have open-minded friends. And I was always something, finding myself all the information. And I had my first boyfriend was a very kind person.
Good.
And this was making something that sex was not, didn't got in my mind something bad.
Okay,
Because
good.
I always had very kind people around me around this topic who take it just, it's normal. I
That's
mean, hello, everybody's doing it. No one is talking about it. Hello.
And that's good. I'm happy that you surrounded yourself and people around you made the topic normal as well. And it's interesting that you say you're 23 years old and your mother is now handing you a book and she feels ashamed about it. This is
Yes,
crazy. You're 23 and
it does.
mother feels embarrassed about giving you this book where she should be like, "Here, honey, take this, read it. Any questions you have, ask me." But that's not how it goes, of course.
It was the same when I had my first menstruation,
Mm-hmm.
because she was here, and this was so, it was not embarrassing. It was like, you're bleeding now. Okay.
It's interesting. I am soon to be 38. So we're talking
Mhm.
about, I got my period at 12, Bernadette. And it's interesting to hear you say that because this story is something, if you listen to this podcast, you're going to hear this story. I got my period. I didn't tell my mom for 2 months. The maxi pads were missing. And that's how she figured out I got my period.
Okay.
She came to me and she said, "Oh, so do you know you can get pregnant now?" That was the extent of the conversation, and that's it. That's it. That's it.
I think
That
I think we have a lot to do in this field.
that's it. That
But
my
if
but listen, Bernadette, her mother, my grandmother, who raised me for the first 4 years of my life, was more warm and comforting towards the situation. So it makes me feel like you acting this way, was it a choice? Because how is your mother being a little more receptive towards me about something that I'm 12 years old? I'm bleeding out my vagina. Please give me a little more comfort than you're able to get pregnant now. Tell me a little more. Let me know this is okay. I'm not weird. This is normal. Every girl is going through this. Tell me something.
no, it's the same when I get my first pill. I have to organize everything on my own.
Oh, yeah. Yep. Your birth
And
control pills? Oh,
yes,
yeah.
and
She's
this
not.
is
No. Oh, no. We didn't talk about that in my house. Birth control?
no.
What? She says, why do you, I'm never, why do you need that? You're having sex? Why do you need that? You're having sex. Now, mind you, I had gotten pregnant, had an abortion. After the situation, as sad as it may be, I said, well, the doctor gave me these pills. These are birth control pills that for me to take. I don't know why you need it. Okay, I'm not a virgin
I love my
anymore, Mom.
mom,
I love my mother too. I do, but these are stories
but
that
this
I
is
I
look.
need to speak about because
Mhm.
it's interesting. Your situation is not different from mine. I am also I'm Haitian. I was born in Haiti. So we're talking about two foreign people talking and women who came to the US. This is kind of like, no, we don't talk about this. This is your private business. But at
Mhm.
12, what private business do I have? You can at least, even if you don't want to talk about sex, at least the menstruation should be a lot easier conversation for you, but it wasn't.
No, not at all.
No.
And this is the funniest part is for whatever reason, I still have no idea, by the way. There I had so many men who asking me a lot of stuff about sex, even working colleagues, even married men,
Hmm.
even with fathers, and I was sitting there and I was like, what I don't I explained them, I explained them biologically everything, and I was always looking at them and like, you're married. Why don't you ask your wife? And why the hell have you no idea about it? I mean, we are talking about a 30 plus man, you know. He was good in selling, but I was totally shocked. And that's so interesting because when you see a person,
Hmm.
some person, they have the charisma that they actually know everything and all the things, and they are totally into this business because they're talking so open. When you begin to talk with them and look behind the curtain, you're like, no, you ain't.
Yeah.
You talk about something what you maybe saw in a sex video or whatever, only being cool, but honey,
Yeah.
sorry.
Porn doesn't portray what reality truly is.
Yes.
It's just a fantasy. It's just for the show. It's just, for that moment. But porn is not really truly what reality is. So, especially men, I guess the guy felt comfortable asking you the questions. Maybe he didn't feel comfortable talking about it with his wife.
I don't know. But by the way, I stopped to explain myself why they are asking me those questions, because even with a friend of mine,
Hmm.
she was actually totally active, but she had no idea about sex toys. I said, how is that possible? I went with her in a sex store and showed her this different style because I was like, how can you?
She never knew.
Hello?
Like, she didn't think
No.
they existed.
They existing, but she was too,
Too
you're not going
scared.
in there. Yes. And I'm like,
Yeah.
hello? No, we are going in there. But
Because you know
yes,
why? It's because we're made feel ashamed. She probably didn't want to either go alone, or she've heard things from society say, you don't do that. That makes
yes.
you less of a woman. That's not attractive as a woman for you to go buy a sex toy. Why would you do that? That's why many times it's easier to order it online than to
Mhm.
actually go into the brick and mortar business to buy it. No, I don't want to be seen buying that. I'm a professional.
Now, but isn't it interesting how many judgments, how many views, how many weird thinking is about when you begin to talk with those people. And I was like, I don't understand it. But I was happy. My first boyfriend was very open. We did a lot of weird stuff.
Well, that's
And
good.
this is something, yes, that's what I say too. The only thing what I didn't like, and I'm totally into the Seuss. I'm serious. I was in America as an au pair, and Victoria's Secret got really rich because of me, because I just love the Seuss and all the things. And my ex boyfriend just doesn't matter. And I'm
What's
like,
what's
oh,
the Seuss? What's
oh, the Seuss, Victoria's Secret. Oh, that's the French word. It's like for underwear. Sorry,
Oh, so
we also
you
use it in German.
Oh, okay. So you were really into like Victoria's Secret and looking like cute.
Yes,
Well, most men
still,
don't care about that. When I
I
used to work
know.
at a hospital, I'll never forget a doctor told me. He said, and he was the comical physician, and he said, "Yeah, I don't give a crap about any of that shit. I'm gonna rip it off anyway. So I mean, if she wants to buy it, she can buy it, but I don't care about it." So I
Not
guess
very romantic.
no, no, he's just in for the do to do. I don't care. I mean, yeah, you look great, but it's coming right off. So I don't really care that much.
As long
But
it was is what good, as long it was good, it's okay. But still, is something for me. It's like everything. I'm a very romantic person.
yeah, me too. I'm very romantic, but that it's good balance because I'm more romantic than my partner. My
Mhm.
partner is not as romantic as I am. And me, sometimes I want all that romance. And he's just like, yeah, 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 let's do it. But not all men are like that. But in our
No,
relationship, I'm the romantic one. So now, Bernadette, are you in a relationship right now?
not yet, because through my parents, I had to With the last boyfriend was like I had so many troubles with my parents and with the family issues. I was like, and I can't be in a relationship when something is totally troubling in the family
Hmm.
because I don't wanna annoy him with my topics.
Oh, okay.
And this is something what I said to myself. I'm so sorry. I truly want to be in a relationship, but when I have all the challenges at home, I cannot concentrate on a good relationship because the topic is still there. And they need a lot of time. And last year, my father also had a stroke. And
Oh,
this was a little too much. Even when I had, in my opinion, a wonderful guy next to me, and I always say, if the right person is there, they are just there.
yeah.
It doesn't matter how much challenges you have. And I always said I have to clear all my family issues. And I also had a huge problem with my colon. I nearly died 3 times. And I always knew I need all the energy for myself before I go on further for a relationship. And for me, it's like something you cannot. I'm a person of ordering in heaven,
Hmm.
and I truly believe in all this stuff. And the right person comes in the right time, even when you're totally desiring it. For me, it's a huge difference if there's a quickie or a friendship with
Uh-huh.
benefits and all the
Exactly.
things. And this is a huge difference because a relationship is always the way you want to define it together. And if
Exactly.
and there are so many different ways out there. For example, with my ex-boyfriend, when he wanted to have a true real relationship, I was like, no.
I don't have time. And you know what? I'm glad you're able to
It's,
identify that and really truly be open and say, I just can't right now. You're a workaholic. You have to take care of your parents. And now I need to worry about someone else that I don't even have time for my own self. So I'm glad that you are able to openly and comfortably voice yourself and just be honest. And if that person respects you, they'll understand as well.
exactly. And for me, it's like the right person is coming to you because
Hmm.
I don't drink alcohol. I don't party that much because I have just different passions, and the
Exactly.
right person will share the passion for you and not be too sticky.
Exactly.
I love my freedom. I love my
I
freedom.
know what you mean. You're all about you're selfish with your time. When you have the little bit of time that you have 2 podcasts you're running, you're working on a radio show, and everything else in your life and your parents. I mean,
It's not only about this one, but when I also did terminal care with my aunties and seeing all their living and what they didn't live
uh-huh.
and be unhappy about it and also dying nearly 3 times, my perception about living is just different. And saying no to myself when I feel that the energy is sucking out of me and also the
Exactly.
money and all the things, this is not a relationship. This is this
Exactly.
is this is cruelty. And
Exactly.
saying, and I support so many women and also women where there was abuse in it and domestic violence and all the things. You become a different perception about living and what a relationship should be.
Mhm.
And in my opinion is when I become free with myself alone,
Mhm.
I can be comfy in a relationship, let me so sure, like real comfy, and open up for relationship. The sex is different, the connection is different, the emotion is different. You can talk about everything. It doesn't matter about the topics and all the things. This is just different. And today, and I meet a lot of people. I was traveling before COVID a lot and talked a lot about relationship and sex and all the things. But finding a true relationship where you be on eye level, where you can open up with all your flaws and feelings and your hidden spots, and the person still likes you. There are not so many couples out there.
No, because we always, I feel, as humans, every relationship we enter, we immediately put that human being into this perfection box. And it's not about bringing up past or anything like that, but once we stop creating this fantasy in our mind that people are perfect, I do feel that relationships can be much healthier if we just admit to ourselves that we all come with flaws. We all have flaws. We're not
Yes.
perfect, you know? And one thing I respect that you said is being able to appreciate time by yourself. Most of us cannot do, because a lot of us, I realize, we jump from one relationship to other,
Mhm.
just jumping,
Mhm.
just jumping, just jumping, not making sure that we're okay before we start that next relationship. And we're
Exactly.
already unhealthy, not happy with ourselves, but we're already entering into a relationship. And we ourselves are in a toxic situation that we need to take care of, but we're not taking care of.
And most of the time, the people are hurt from the last relationships and they bring it into the new one. The person in front of you has no chance, no chance at all. And I found so many women, they're so desperately looking for a partner. And I said, are you looking for yourself? Did you check all your relationship? Did you learn out of it? Did you clear your healings? Did you make inner child healing? Because I'm doing a lot of inner child healing because there are so many people out there who have got hurt since childhood. How can you find the right person and being comfortable with yourself when you have another person around you?
I agree. Bernadette, do you feel that it's mostly women that does that very often, where we leave one relationship and we immediately compare the man to the last, even though we try not to do it? But do men do that as well, you feel?
Yes, but differently.
Okay.
They don't want to look at it.
They
They are
hide it.
going, yes, they hide it, and they going for a different reason in the relationship. Either that finally a second mom is there, or that I
Oh.
have regularly sex. Their intention is just differently why they go into relationship, and so many times they just, even when the partner doesn't work very well or it's not fitting to them,
Mm-hmm.
they're still staying in there, both sides.
Yes.
And this is so an abusive, toxic relationship, and I see it so many times, and I'm like, why are you doing it?
It
I don't
goes,
know.
I agree, because it goes the same way, and both my partner and I have cheated on each other. And me, I always like to use my story. I did it for a cowardice reason. Why, Bernadette? Because I didn't want to break up. It was easier for me to do wrong than to separate from my partner. It was easier for me to ask for forgiveness than to ask for permission, because I'm not
Mhm.
going to ask for permission. I'll just have you forgive me later, and I'm going to do what I want to do right now, and I'll deal with the problem later. And this is what we do. We just hide stuff and we layer things until that layer
Mhm.
becomes too thick. And now we're like, oh my gosh, what do I do? This is getting to be too much.
But you're actually cheating on yourself first,
Yep.
and this is something what I don't understand. But my deepest belief is when I'm healthy with myself, I'm healthy and very honest with my counter, because I want to have a healthy relationship. And
Exactly.
is it perfect? No. I don't want to be perfect. I don't want to have a perfect guy. The last guy was, in my opinion, totally perfect for me. And I was so freaking scared that I have to be so perfect, that I just stopped it. And I knew it's my topic. I just know it's my topic because I'm always so pleased when a guy is there who sees me. This is still a topic of the eating disorder, of
Mm-hmm.
anorexia, just being seen and being heard, and just that, and he wanted to take care of me so much, and I was like, you're so perfect. Are you real? I always said, are you actually real? So you're building up a picture of
Mm-hmm.
something, and you actually make a pressure of yourself, you make a pressure of the other one, you're making pressure of your surrounding, and it's just, no.
Exactly. Exactly. Now, I wanted to ask you, do you believe in sex before marriage? Or do you
Yes.
believe sex? I don't know how you feel about marriage. What is your opinion on marriage? Is marriage something that is important to you? Or are you okay having a companion where you both agree that we're just going to live with each other? So I guess it depends on your belief, but at some point, regardless if it's marriage or not, sex is very important to, because you
I'm
know
sorry,
how
but you have to test it. I'm sorry.
you
It's
I agree with you, Bernadette. I feel that's the icing on the cake, because you can be
yeah.
compatible in so many different things: communication, spiritually, emotionally, great conversation with someone. All those can fit perfectly, but the sex is the icing on the cake. That's the last piece of the relationship that you have to make sure that's a good fit. I do hear some people say at times, you can always educate someone on how to, you know, certain, I guess, things to do during sex. You can always educate your partner on what your likes and dislikes are. But that also goes into the question of penis size for me. I do believe penis size is very important, rather too small or too big. It is a fact, it is real. So that's why I feel sex is important before marriage for me, or not even marriage, any relationship that you're in. At some point in time, the waiting game, I'm not into that 100% because if it's too big, how is this going to work out? If it's too small, how is this going to work out? There's only but so much I can educate you. I've had both too big, too small. Too big is extremely uncomfortable. I could not see myself spending the rest of your life on something that doesn't fit me. Too small, I can't even feel. Why am I wasting my time?
I had that. No. And this is something, there is a saying in German, probably in English too. For every single person or for every single pot, there is a cover for it.
Mm-hmm.
And it's the same with the people. The right one is that they have the right size, it just fits. Is it only a dream? Is it like something, oh, that's like Hollywood style? I'm like, yeah, maybe not, because in my environment, more and more couple are coming together and they just fit.
Exactly.
And when I had the too big, I was like, sorry, even when I'm just, you're just a person, I just adore you, it doesn't fit. And the
Yeah.
other one is like, he has so many complexes because he believes it's too small. And I'm like, no.
Oh.
So it's always, pardon? It's always bite-sided, because for the man, it makes something too when the so-called penis size is not the right one. And I had with both the discussion about it. Does size matter? Because it's such a huge topic. And we are like, yes, it does, but also the technique and also how the man feels about it.
Mm-hmm.
And this is something what makes me so upset, because a lot of men also, I'm working with men too, with my coachings. And when we come there, you truly see that they have a minority inferior complexes. And I'm like, but you're way much more. If I truly believe I only want to have a penis, I buy a fucking vibrator. And I'm serious.
I agree with you,
And
Bernadette.
I mean, we have sex toys, you can have everything, but a man is way much more. It's a human. There is a whole being in front of you. And it always depends. And if it doesn't work it out, I mean, it always depends how much you like each other. You try it and just, find ways in all the things. And one day you just decide either you're going on or you're not going on. And sometimes maybe not partnership, but friends with benefits and whatever that means.
I agree. I do believe a conversation with a man where the size is much larger will probably be easier for a man to have, because how do you have a conversation with a man and let them know it's just doesn't fit or I don't feel anything? Have you worked, like, how do you even say that to your partner without making them feel embarrassed or less? Because we all know men, their penis is like their world. And
Yes.
they, every man out
Yes.
here just thinks their penis is like perfect and it's going to please every woman out there. And that is not the case. Your penis is not going to please every woman out there. Because to me, sex is like when you have sex with somebody, not only is it a soul connection, but you're like, it's like, it's like, I like to compare it to like a puzzle. If the puzzle is just slightly off, the whole situation is not going to feel right.
And this is something, it's so interesting, because with the one with the large penis size, the conversation was differently, because he had a higher self-esteem.
Yes. Yes.
So he was talking more naturally about it. So I could talk open with him about it than with the other one. And this was so interesting, because that's what I mean. The penis size does something with the guy. And this is another reason why I built up a men group, because some topics it's easier for men to talk with a man instead of a woman. And it's so interesting. And sometimes I feel so sorry about it because they're making themselves wrong and just, low self-esteem and talking shit about themselves only because of this topic. And I'm like, but there are other women out there who has a small vagina, honey.
Yes. And they don't
Not
realize
ask
that.
at the yes, and don't ask at the first date how big or small is your vagina. But you can but talk about it maybe later when you have the feeling, yes, it might can fit in a different way too.
Exactly. I totally agree. But these are topics when we're dating, we don't talk about. For whatever reason, it's not comfortable talking about. We're not going to talk about it. We're just going to jump in the bed and we'll find out. We're not going to have any discussion. We're not going to say anything. We're just going to kind of say what we would do to each other, because normally that's how the topic is what I want to do with you. But it's not on an educational basis, because I guess that's too mature, right, Bernadette? Why would I want to talk about sex in a mature way when I'm dating with you? That sucks.
Not only that, but most of the time there's a lot of alcohol in there when first time you go to bed, and it doesn't work at all. When you have stress with it, it's like, no, it doesn't make fun.
Yes.
Why are we still in such an old society so confused about talking openly about it?
That's a good
I don't
question.
know.
And I don't think we'll ever have the answer. And it's
No.
it's been happening, it's presently happened, and it's going to continue to happen, because this is a topic that I'm not talking about with you. I don't feel comfortable talking about you. We could do it, but I'm not talking about it. But I don't want to have any conversation with you about it. Let's just do it, get it done and over with, and that's it. So my next question is, what does a healthy sex life mean to you, since you're not in a relationship now, but in your past relationship? What is quote unquote healthy mean to you?
Just be congruent with yourself, what you desire, and just be open with the other one. I mean, you share the bed with him, you share other stuff with him. Why can't you be open with it? And but I always have to say, since child, always a very open person. I just talk about it. I think that's a many reason why others begin also to talk about topics they maybe be taboo topics, but this is something who I am. And I'm like, when I'm not honest with myself, how can I be honest with the other person?
Exactly.
And I'm allowed to talk about desires, because the other person is also allowed to say no when they don't want to.
Exactly.
And this is for me healthy. This is healthy because I can open myself, what I feel, what I desire, what I want to try. Because with my ex-boyfriend, we tried a lot, and I just loved it. And just be having this secure that they don't talk about crap behind my back.
True.
And this is trust. A healthy relationship is a trust for yourself and for your partner, giving a safe space where you can just open up and just talk or be who you want to be outside of the other world.
You're right. A healthy sex relationship, I agree, it should be genuine. If I can't be open and genuine with you, if I cannot trust what we're about to do or what I'm sharing with you, that is not healthy. And also, you have to know the do's and don'ts for your partner, which is important, because if you don't care about what they don't like, then how can you really truly be pleasing to your partner? And has nothing to do with size, but your partner may not like a certain position. And you need to be mindful of that and work around that, because we all know there's so many different other sex positions that you can engage in. So if your partner says, hey, I don't like missionary, I don't like doggy style, look into doing other things. And that is a trusting relationship. That is, to me, that is showing concern for my feelings as well. And it's vice versa, respecting both each other's boundaries when it comes to that.
And also having the space to try something new together.
Exactly.
And then because most of the people know the doggy, the mission, and that's it. And I'm like, no.
That's all they know, just the two.
Yes. For some reason, wherever they got that, that's what they know. And as you said, there are so many different ways and also be open up and being totally, vulnerable and being just there. And a lot of people have no idea what that means.
No.
And this is something you define. I'm a health framing. I'm working also with words and the meanings behind it. And I'm always looking on the meanings about the different words like love and all, because they're huge word. Everybody's using it. The same with sex is a huge topic.
Mm-hmm.
If you ask what's behind it, what do you mean behind it? There are so many different ways and meanings and words are coming up. And sometimes they just have a misunderstanding what you
Exactly.
actually want. But if you don't know for yourself what you want in your life and also in your sex life, how can the other person know? And
Exactly.
no, your partner, especially men, that they have no idea what you want. You have to say it.
You have to communicate. That's why
Yes.
even in your sex life, communication is important. Communication is key in your relationship, regardless
Yes.
what you're doing. You're absolutely right. Because if you don't tell your partner's not going to know. Now,
If you do yourself have no idea about, and it's like also pleasing yourself, how else does your partner should know?
but it's interesting because for the people who don't want to talk about it, I wonder if they even know, Bernadette. Because I wonder if they know what certain spots, as a woman, I can say I know what spots are pleasing for me, but there are some women that touching themselves is not something that I'm going to do. I'm not doing
No.
that. Oh my gosh, no. But that's
No.
how you learn what is comfortable for you and what you like. And there are women out there, I guarantee you, that are not doing that and that have no true idea what is pleasing for them, because we all know there's many women out there that have never had an orgasm because they
Yep.
just don't know.
Exactly. And isn't that sad? And then I see the world with so many grumpy people and so many pissed people. And I'm like, with the women, sometimes I want to tell them, buy for yourself a fucking vibrator and give yourself the shot because you are just a grumpy person.
And I think because too, I was raised a Christian, but self pleasure is seen as a sin.
Yes.
That's the problem. Self pleasure is seen as a sin. Self pleasure is not something that you do, it is wrong. And although I am a Christian, I do believe, how am I supposed to know what is pleasing to me? And how am I supposed to educate my partner on my do's and my don'ts if I don't know? So, again, this is why Shirley talks about taboo topics. Although I do still see myself as a Christian, some people might see me as an abomination. Some people might see me as completely like, no, you are so wrong in so many ways. But hey, you got a girl has to do what a girl has to do. If I don't please
Exactly.
myself, there's no way my partner is going to know what I like and what I don't like.
Exactly. And it's so sad that the women out there who never had an orgasm.
No.
And I'm like, how should the partner should know? And most of the time, they give the fault to the partner. And I'm like, no. This has something with you that you actually discover your own body, that you know what you like, what you don't like. Then you can actually, as you said, educate your partner what you like, and also vice versa, by the way.
Yeah.
But I think masturbation for men is just easier because they just, it's just the way it is because they have to do it otherwise, or they have regular sex with others.
Hmm.
But this is something, it's still a taboo and it's so sad. But who should tell you? Discover yourself. This is healthy. This is healthy also for your, not only for your body but also for your mind, for you mentally, that you know how to please yourself and also educate your partner and support each other to discover yourself.
And it's also important that your partner should make that a point as well. It's always interesting, and this gives me ideas for my next season and future topics, but your
Mhm.
partner should also want to please you. Quickies are great. We all know a woman most likely probably never gets off from a quickie because it's like that early morning and, he's right there in the bed and his friend is up. So now it's like, all right, let's get this. So, but every day should not be a quickie, and your partner should at some point want to satisfy you, because I do believe that it takes a little longer for a woman than it does a man, and that should be a priority for your partner. If that's not a priority for your partner, you need to question your whole sexual relationship here. Because what is going on?
And that's what I never understood, because when I'm in a partnership, I desire my partner.
Yeah.
I desire my partner every single moment, even when he looks like in the morning, and we all don't look like good in the morning.
We know.
But
I
this
know
is
what I look like in
something.
the morning.
Yeah, me too. Not a good idea. But this is something, when you truly desire your partner, you just have lust to your partner.
Exactly.
And this is something, even when he comes earlier or later or not at all, this is more than sex.
Hmm.
If you love your partner, if you just want to have the partner with you.
Exactly. And this goes into the question, making love and having sex. Do the two mean different meanings to you? For me, making love is a soul connection. You make love with not just anybody. I think we all have had one night stands. We all have had, a friend with benefit, because even a friend with benefit, I feel like that's just sex. But when you make love with someone, it's totally a different experience as of just having sex with someone you're not making love with. To me, it's like a soul connection. It's
Mhm.
there's so many things that are bonding together when you're making love to your partner. Your comfort level completely you're completely comfortable, and you're wholeheartedly yourself with no shame.
With no shame, with no guilt.
Mhm.
And yes, for me it's a different. Um, my quickie, but I don't have a good experience with the quickies, so I just let it, because it was like, oh no, doesn't work. But for me, it's like, and that's interesting, because my body actually reacts on it when it's only sex. It
Okay.
becomes dry. It doesn't work.
Yeah.
And this is so interesting, because my body is I teach people intuition and listen to their body intelligence, so I know my body very well, what is good for her and what is not good for her, and she reacts on it. And for me, it's like, I truly have to be into this guy to have sex with him, and my body works.
And
And this is so interesting.
that's you paying attention. That's you
Yes,
getting in tuned with your body, because as women, our body does talk to us. Our vagina
yes,
will let
all
us
the time.
know what is
Yes,
pleasing, what is
yes,
not, what we're
yes,
in the mood in, what we're not in the mood in. And if you actually pay attention, you will realize when she's turned on and when she's not turned on.
yes, exactly.
Yeah.
And your body truly talks with you all the time.
Mhm.
Most of the time, we need a disease to remember that our body is actually, living. Duh. And
Exactly.
this is the same, and that's what I'm teaching. I'm teaching even the people how to listen to your organs and to your vagina, and also to your body,
Mhm.
and what the body actually desires, because this is intuition. This is something what, in my opinion, is a birthright. And there are so less people out there, and for me, it's like I'm just listening to my body. There
Exactly.
are herbs out there for sex. There are food out there for sex to get turned on, and there are so many things out there. And if you tuned into your body and also tuned into your body of your partner, you know when you both desire and want to connect, body level on soul level. And this is craving. I don't know, when you have your soul partner and the partner you truly love, this is craving. This is, you desire the partner. It doesn't matter which flaws this person has. You just like it. You like each other.
Exactly. And that all falls into the healthy relationship that we were
Yes.
talking about earlier. It all ties in. Now, my next question is, how much sex is too much sex within a day, a week, or a month? And I know, of course, every relationship is different. And you have good weeks, you have bad weeks. There may be one week you have sex 3 times, another week, one time. You and your partner might be so busy. 2 weeks go by and you're like, oh my gosh, it's been 2 weeks, we got to get busy. But how much sex is too much sex for you in your past relationships? Or I should ask, Are you the initiator or have your partner been the initiator or is it different in every relationship for you?
It was different in the situations too. And
Okay.
I'm a little bit weird person. I'm also the person who gives the SMS and all the things, honey. And
Ah,
I'm
okay.
I'm I'm a very creative person, and most of the time I did it out of pure fun
Uh-huh.
because I'm very yes, I'm a little bit weird in this part, but I just
No,
have fun with my partner.
Bernadette, you're not weird. More women probably need to do that. You know, my girlfriend had said to me one time that you have to text your man every now and then a little selfie pic of yourself or, a little nude pic. You have to send it to 'em. Men. I feel more than anything, they need that. They need that. It like helps them. And also, it sparks up the later in the evening, like, okay, you know what's going down tonight, baby.
Yes, and for me it's like my man knew when I want.
Okay. Okay.
And this is I'm a Leo in horoscope, so I'm a person who just says what she wants. And when I do my guy, I just do my guy. And what is too much when you can't go anymore or crawl anymore, even when it's just funny. And for me, it's like my body is telling me when it's too much, and my body is telling me when it's not too much.
I
And this is
agree.
my biggest sign what's still healthy, what's good for me, and vice versa. And the interesting part is I'm high intuitive, so with my part I'm tuning in.
Mhm.
So and this is something we know just each other when you just want and desire.
Gotcha. So you don't even think about like what is too much, as you said. It's if
No.
you want to do it, you just do it. If you can really truly think, even though I know you haven't thought, what's the most you think you've ever had sex in one day?
Well, we had off 4 times.
Okay. That's average. To me, that's not anything crazy. No.
No, but we had off. But when we say we had off, we are still working on our projects because my ex boyfriend was also very creative, and he was uh, in going into another career and all the things. So he was also a driving person. But that's me. I need an active person. I need a person who just loves life and creates life, and this is being active.
Gotcha.
But it's yeah.
Now, I wanted to ask, and I'm assuming I know what your answer is. Do you think
Okay.
sex should be planned? And I know your answer is no. I can tell from your last response, like,
It's
no.
like but I have to say I planned so much stuff because I through a lot of multi-project man all the things. There are a couple of things I don't wanna plan. And I understand even when you're a workaholic, you sometimes you believe you have to plan, but this is where's the lust? There's no desire there anymore. When I know, oh God, I have to at 8 o'clock, I have to look good and all the things, and
You're
no.
right, there is no desire. I do have a friend that likes to plan. Right now, she's not no one's beating her. It's 1-0 right now, but she is a planner. She plans everything, and she does feel as though the sex should be planned. Bernadette, I agree with you, and so far, everyone else I've interviewed for season 3 will say, yeah. And one person I liked how she phrased it. She says, "Do I write it down in my book? No. But as you said, I might send a text message or, say something that we know we're going to do something tonight. But am I planning it ahead of time and putting it down in my calendar? No, I'm not doing that."
I'm so sorry. When I have to plan and tell my guy to plan it, I'm not quite sure if he actually gets a climax because it would stress me out, and I know Micah would stress that out too because it's like, no,
I
it's
don't
no
wanna
fun in
plan.
it.
I'm not planning
No.
anything. It needs to happen naturally. If it's not
Yes.
happening naturally, I'm not planning nothing. And
Mm-mm.
but she's not winning. She's losing right now, big time, because no one is a planner like she is. So hopefully maybe I'll find somebody that likes to
Who
plan and
planned?
putting it down in their calendar. But now, do you prefer to take control or be submissive?
I think that's my weakest part. I'm a controlled person, and I'm working on it being more relaxed. working on it to it always depends. It always depends about the situation and all the other things.
Mm-hmm.
But I had guys where I can let go,
Okay.
and this is relieving.
Gotcha.
But unfortunately, as I'm very freedom, I like my freedom. I'm a Leo. You know, Leo don't like give up control.
I think
But
Pisces
this
are
is a
the
weak.
same too.
Okay.
Pisces, I have to maintain control of what's going on around me. So, my next question is, what do you think is a good age for someone to lose their virginity, Bernadette? Do you think is there a good age? Do you think it's whenever the person's ready? Because if you're a teenager, you're too young. If you're in your 30s, you're too old. So there's no number out there, as we all know.
Mhm.
There's no
Mhm.
number, even though we all are very judgmental as of what's too young and what's too old. But there's no number, there's no book, there's no nothing. So, in your mind, I want to
Mhm.
hear what you say. Do you think there is an age
Is it a
appropriate?
is it an age or is it the right person? And in times like this, because I'm also having people there where the topic is child abuse,
Mm-hmm.
I'm not quite sure if I'm the right person to answer this question. But for me, when both want to have it, when it feels right, when it feels safe, and when there is not a bad intention behind it,
I agree.
and
And I
but I
like your
have to say
response.
I have to say I was really lucky because my first boyfriend was very kind and very genuine, and this was just I have it in really good experience, and this is something what is also profound for the next boyfriends what you have.
And that's and I'm glad that you brought up the child abuse because it's real. It's happening. And
Way
it,
too much, way too
yeah,
much.
way too much. And I didn't experience that, so I cannot even begin to say I understand what a child is going through because I don't understand because I didn't experience that. I lost my virginity at 15 and it was mutual. It was happy. The good thing is it was with the person that I am with right now, so that's always a good thing, right? But you're right. It depends on the situation, it depends on the 2 people, and there's no right person to answer this question. And is there really truly a wrong response ever? No.
There's another thing. Just be honest with the partner and
Mhm.
telling them each other when you are still a virgin, because this is not something what is bad. This is something, and it doesn't matter which age you are. It always you should have the freedom to choose both
Exactly.
sides, because
Exactly.
there's I also have male child abuses,
Mhm.
and this always both sides because these are real, as you said, and it should be always in a free choice and in a comfy surrounding, and not because oh I'm in a college now or oh I'm in the high school and I have to do this one and this one only to be cool and only be in the game.
And that's not what the reason should be. I remember in high school, there was pressure. Of course, I don't know how high school is now these days, but I remember in high school, you know, it was like the thing, were you still a virgin or were you not a virgin? Were you having sex? Were you not in sex? And then there was a group where you didn't want to share because you didn't want to seem as a hoe, or a little, prostitute, not, and then there was the group where, "Oh, you're not having sex?" And it's like, "Well, where do I fall? If I do it,
Mm.
I'm a hoe. If I don't do it, then I'm considered prude. So where do I fall?" And this is the pressures of high school.
Yes, and it's just my it's I'm shocked about it. It's I think it's more than ever that the pressure is out there, and I'm like, just listen to yourself,
Yes,
because those people are friends who just let you the way you are. And
yeah,
I was always lucky having the right people around me, and didn't I never understood it, by the way, all the pressure, because I want to choose and not some kind of peer pressure thing, because these are no friends.
exactly, exactly. Now, before we end today, Bernadette, what would you like to share with our listeners? What piece of advice when it comes to this topic, sex in a relationship, that you would like to give our listeners?
Be honest to yourself. Listen to yourself, to your body. Just discover your body, what your body actually likes. Define for yourself what healthy is, what sex is, what partnership should be, and not defined by others, and definitely not from society or any peer pressure. But just listen to yourself and find for yourself being more naturally. We are so conditioned from media, from everybody else out there, that it's time that we begin to listen to yourself again, going back to it, because that's the most healthiest way ever. And what other people say, just don't care. Just don't care. Care for yourself and what feels just good for you and for your body.
Awesome. Bernadette, we had a great discussion today. Awesome discussion. I really appreciate you opening up with me and, sharing your truthful feelings about this topic because, as we all know, it's a topic that people do not feel comfortable talking about. And as you
Yes.
said, listen to yourself, people, when it comes to sex. Communication is also important in sex, as Bernadette says, because if you're not communicating to your partner your do's and don'ts, how is your partner supposed to know? You know,
Exactly.
communication is important in every aspect of your relationship. The other thing I wanted to point out that was important that Bernadette said in the beginning of the discussion is don't be afraid to say no as well. Bernadette simply pointed out when I asked her if she was in a relationship, she was in a relationship because she just didn't have the time, with everything that she has going on. And even though we're talking about sex in a relationship, I wanted to point that out to say, don't be afraid to say no. If you don't have the time to really truly devote yourself to a relationship,
Yes.
don't have one. Learn how to be okay with being alone. We're so quick to jump from one person to another when we're already toxic ourselves and not allowing ourselves time to heal. But again, thank you, Bernadette. All her information will be on the bottom of the website where you can reach out to her. You can follow all her coaching. Bernadette has 2 podcasts. This woman is busy and she's working on a radio show. Wait, she
No,
already has a radio show.
I
She's
have
working
my
on the
radio show.
TV show.
Yes.
TV show she's working on. This woman is busy. And she has her PhD in nutrition. If you wanted to reach out and find some information, what exactly is it? I do apologize if I'm not saying it right.
I'm working on my PhD on health training, but I have my diploma on nutrition trainings.
Gotcha.
Yes, complementary nutrition.
Okay, got it. So all her information will be on the website for you to reach out with her for any reason at all whatsoever. She is an open book and, she can definitely talk to you about anything you would like. So as always, we want to thank you guys for listening with us today. Till the next episode, love yourself, voice yourself, and be yourself. Have a great day, guys. Thanks for tuning in to Fanpale Podcast. If you want to continue the conversation or share your takeaways, I want to hear from you. Head on over to the website or join our Facebook community and comment your favorite part of the show or share your thoughts. I want to hear what you have to say. Don't forget to rate and subscribe to the podcast so you never miss an episode. Chat with you next week.